Hey everyone, it's Mike. I'm back doing another weekly installment of 10 albums that are near perfect, save for like one or a couple songs maybe that kind of ruin it from being perfect. Today I'm going to do hardcore punk. I just saw the Circle Jerks the other night, and so I'm in the mood to do something dealing with hardcore punk, so that's what I'm going to do. Let's get started. The first record, I'm going to go in alphabetical order. First record is the Living in Darkness album from Agent Orange. Absolute classic amongst me and my friends back in high school. Lived in a beach town in the Gulf Coast of Florida, and even though there wasn't any surfing happening there, we definitely had the whole kind of surf vibe and skate punk and surf punk kind of attitude in amongst the punk fans back in that day. So this was an absolute essential album for that. Fantastic album. 8 songs on this record, although this pressing, this is a reissue, it's got some extra songs on it. And quite frankly, the 8 songs that are on the original album are really just perfect. There's not a bad song in the bunch. So I would just rate this as pretty much a near perfect album as far as hardcore punk goes. But I will say, of the songs that they added to it, they added the Bitchin' Summer EP to this, which is Pipeline, Mr. Moto, and Breakdown. And of those songs, Breakdown is not a great song. I don't really care for it. And then the other 2 bonus songs, America and Bored of You, also not a fan. But the original 8 songs on this album are just freaking awesome. So this is definitely a must have for the hardcore punk, 80s punk back in the day. And the 8 songs are pretty damn perfect. Agent Orange, Living in Darkness. I didn't write down the dates on these. I don't remember when that was. I don't know, 80s. Next one, Bad Brains, Rock for Light, my favorite hardcore band along with the Circle Jerks. And this is my favorite album of theirs, Rock for Light, produced by Rick Ocasek. Whole bunch of fantastic songs on this. It's really hard for me to even pick a bad song on here, but I just went ahead and picked Rally Round Jaw Throne. It's one of the reggae songs. I really like their reggae songs, even though obviously I prefer their hardcore punk stuff. But that song to me is just the weakest out of the reggae songs on this album. So just for lack of anything else, I don't know, I just chose that one. But it's pretty damn near perfect album. Bad Brains, Rock for Light, love it. Fantastic. Next one, the band I went and saw the other night. Let's see. This is probably my favorite album of theirs, although Golden Shower Hits is really great too. But this album, the band played pretty much every song off this album except for 2. Group Sex and What's Your Problem. I'm pretty sure they didn't play What's Your Problem. I could be mistaken. It's a really short song. They could have snuck it in there and I missed it. But they definitely did not play the song Group Sex, and I can understand why, because it's my least favorite song on this album. I'm glad they skipped it. It's kind of like it's just a song that's just a throwaway song, really. It's just them screaming the words group sex over and over and over, while Keith Morris does this kind of spoken word. It sounds like he's like doing an infomercial. I don't know. It's just a goofy song, and it could really just, they could have left that off, and this would be a perfect hardcore punk album. Love this one, Group Sex by the Circle Jerks. That's number 3. Great show, by the way. God, freaking Circle Jerks sounded awesome. I'm going to put a video at the end of this video of them performing. I took a bunch of videos, but I grabbed the best one, one of my favorite songs of theirs, and I'll snip it onto the end of this video. So stay tuned and watch that, because they sound awesome. Next album, Dead Kennedys, Plastic Surgery Disasters. I could have done either this one or Fresh Fruit. They're both fantastic albums, but I just chose this one because it doesn't get as much love as the other one does. And as far as this album goes, every time I listen to it, I'm just amazed at how great it is. I always think in my head that this is not as good as Fresh Fruit, but that's just not true. There are a lot of really fantastic, classic Dead Kennedy songs on this album. And my least favorite, and I think it just suffers from the fact that it's the last song in the album. And usually when I'm listening to Dead Kennedys or any hardcore punk album, usually the energy and the excitement and the whatever, it just kind of dies out. The enthusiasm kind of dies out by the end of the album. And you're like, okay, that's enough Dead Kennedys. Let's move on to something else. And Moon Over Marin is that song. It's the last song, and it's okay. If they stuck it up in the middle of the album, I'd listen to it just fine. But since it's at the end and it just kind of peters out, it's not like a real fantastic ending song to an album. So I'm going to choose Moon Over Marin. So I don't know. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think of any of these choices if I'm completely insane. But it's just my least favorite song on the album. Maybe just due to placement, but anyway. Dead Kennedys, Plastic Surgery Disasters, still fantastic album. Next one, Dirty Rotten Imbeciles, Dealing With It. Their first, I guess, well-produced album. The Dirty Rotten LP and EP or whatever that came before this is just kind of really rough and raw, and here it's really tightened up and it sounds fantastic. And there's 25 songs on this album. Many of them not lasting, I don't know, they're less than a minute long. And I think that when a song is less than a minute long, it's really easy to keep it tight and cut out all the excess that doesn't need to be there. And it's kind of hard to do a bad song in under a minute unless you just wrote a really shitty song. But this album, all 25 songs, I could not pick out a single one that I would leave off this album. So this is it. DRI as is. Take it as is because it's fantastic, and all 25 of these songs are worth a listen. So perfect. DRI, Dealing With It. Next album, Fear, the record. Love this album. I remember listening to this all the time back in high school. I think there's an obvious song, at least to me it's so obvious, which song I would choose off of this one, and that would be Getting the Brush. And I remember listening to this with friends, and we would all just be like, okay, skip this song. Everybody would just want to skip this song because it was just kind of I don't know, it's just kind of thrown in there. It's almost like they're challenging your patience with that song. They're like, let's see if we can just do a song like this and see if all of our hardcore fans will listen to it or if they'll just get pissed off. And I think most of us would just get pissed off. It's kind of like a flipper kind of song that kind of just wants to kind of mess with you. That's what that song is. Getting the Brush. Not good, not a favorite on this album. The rest of the album just is really tight and fits really well together, just flows. And love this album, Fear, the record. Next one, Minor Threat. Now this is a compilation of like the first couple of EPs. Yeah, it's like 2 7-inch EPs released together on this release on Discord. And I went through, I went listening to it today because I haven't listened to it in a while. I listened to the whole thing this morning and really couldn't find a bad song on it. They're all great. They're all tight. They all sound like they're meant to be there. There's nothing that stands out that they could have left off. It's really tight, really awesome. Yeah, I just would feel weird just to pick a song just for the sake of picking a song on this one because they're all really good. None really, there just isn't a crappy song on this album. So highly recommend it, Minor Threat. Self-titled, I don't know, whatever, compilation, whatever they call this thing. They just call it Minor Threat. But anywho, really good stuff. Next one, Suicidal Tendencies. Fantastic album. Really almost perfect. There's a couple of iffy songs towards the end, but the one song that I wanted to pick out that I don't listen to on purpose, and it's just an annoying song to me, and it's probably suffers because it was like the first song I remember hearing off of this, and it was the song that kind of brought everybody into this album, and it's just, I don't know, it's just kind of cheesy and overplayed, and just, I'm over it. And it's the song I Saw Your Mommy. Yeah, cute, whatever, when you're in high school and you're just a kid, but I don't listen to that song. It's just not a great song. It's just kind of, I don't know. It's just gimmicky, cheesy, whatever. I'm gonna choose that song, I Saw Your Mommy. and your mommy's dead. I don't know. It's just kind of a silly song, but I love this album. Absolutely love this album. It's just incredible. Pretty much from start to finish. It's just that one song that just irks me. So, oh well. Last two, same band. X, Under the Big Black Sun. Love this album. These last two albums are my favorite two X albums. And the one song I chose off of this one, that it's just a song that just doesn't do it for me and never has, and I don't think ever will. And it's the song Blue Spark. It's a John Doe song. I don't know. I just don't care for it. It's just a little too, I don't know. It just doesn't fit in with the rest of these songs. I love all the songs on this album, but just Blue Spark is just, I don't know. It's just not a great song to me. I don't know. It's just how my brain is. And I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that love Blue Spark. Could possibly be their favorite X song. And I totally get it. We just have different brains, and my brain says skip that song. So anyway, love this album though, X, Under the Big Black Sun. Next one, More Fun in the New World, tied with this other one, tied as my favorite X albums. I've always loved this album. A friend of mine in college got me into X, and really thank him for it, because they're just one of the best punk bands I've ever heard, and I just get so much enjoyment. Listen, all I need to do is just make like a playlist of all my favorite X songs, and I could listen to that over and over and over and over. Off this album though, and this was a hard one to choose too, as far as like least favorite songs, because I really like all of them. I chose True Love, the first version. There's two parts. There's part 1 and part 2, and the first one, it's okay. It's a fine song. It's just not my favorite, and I like part 2 a lot better than part 1. So I chose that song. So anyway, stay tuned. Check out my little Circle Jerks video. It might be a little shaky or whatever. I'm an old man. I couldn't hold my hand completely still, but it's a pretty decent video, and you'll see everybody crowd surfing and stuff. It was a fun, fantastic show. Keith Morris just sounds awesome, and I was really surprised. I wasn't aware, but like pretty much the whole band is together. Just the drummer was a new drummer, but the rest of the band is all original members, and well, at least original members from back when I saw them back in 1986 for the Wonderful album, and the 3 of the guys are the same guys from Wonderful, and the drummer was the only guy that was different. So anyway, fantastic show. Go check out punk shows when they come around. I'm going to see Agent Orange, I think, in October. I'm going to try to see some more. Hopefully Dirty Rotten Imbeciles will make it through Phoenix at some point, because I'd like to see them a lot too. Anyway, everybody have a great weekend. I will do another one of these videos next weekend. I'm not sure which genre I'm going to choose, but I'm just going to keep this going, and hope you all have a great weekend, and stay out of the heat. Stay hydrated. Love you all. Bye.
Once again, thank you for being here.